Good morning. Thanks for watching KVUE Weekend Daybreak. I'm Dominique Newland, and we begin with breaking news happening just a couple hours east of Austin. 5 people in Cleveland, Texas are dead this morning after being shot inside a home by a gunman with an AR-15, and that suspect still on the loose. Cleveland is a small town about 55 miles north of Houston. Here's the information we know so far. Local police received a harassment call at around 11:30 last night. The shooter was known to fire his .223 outside in his front yard, and one of the people inside the house asked him to be quiet. First responders say at least 10 people were inside. 2 female victims were found in a bedroom laying on top of 2 surviving children. And the youngest victim in the shooting was only 8 years old.
The only thing I can tell you right now, and in mind that this is still early in the investigation, one of the victims came out of the house and said, "Hey, we have a small baby that's trying to sleep," and the man said, "I'll shoot out in my front yard, do what I want to in my own residence."
Scary moments. 4 of the 5 victims were declared dead on the scene. The 8-year-old was life flighted to the hospital but later died. Police do not think that suspect is still in the Cleveland area, but he is on the loose and was, quote, intoxicated. We, of course, will bring you updates throughout the morning as we learn more, and stay with us online at KVUE.com for this developing situation. And overnight, you might have heard some hail and seen some crazy looking clouds during your Friday evening plans. Here's a look at the storms moving in last night, a time lapse there. And those are some dark clouds we're seeing too. But luckily that storm threat now gone. We're looking forward to a bit cooler and brighter weekend in Central Texas. You can see that sun shining clear after the storm. Meteorologist Grace Thornton has been tracking those storms. Grace, I know it was a crazy night for some folks.
Yeah, it was a little bit crazy. I mean, all week we had 3 separate storm threats this week, and now that we're moving into the weekend, it looks like Mother Nature is going to give us a nice little break for a while. For today's conditions, we're starting off just a touch cooler, about 10 degrees cooler in most spots, especially out towards the hill country this morning. And as we head through the afternoon, you will note the cooler conditions. However, it won't feel bad out there at all. Maybe a light jacket in the morning, but heading through the afternoon, we're going to touch the lower, even mid 70s possible. You can ignore that chance for rain there. It's going to be absolutely beautiful out today. However, one thing you're going to want to note is the gusty winds out there. We have a wind advisory for the I-35 corridor and points eastward that extends through 2 p.m. today. That could be upwards of 30 to 40 mile per hour gusts. Now, thankfully, looks like that's going to nod off after that for the afternoon. I'll have more on what's to come on Sunday and the rest of this week coming up in just a little bit.
All right, Grace, thanks so much. Take a look at that. Quite a few of you probably saw some hail hit your neighborhood. You can see Hutto, Round Rock, Pflugerville, Harris Branch. Hail fell all across the metro, and some areas saw stones the size of golf balls. Take a look at these videos here. All of the hail and rain moved out, though, pretty quickly. Hopefully your cars were covered. But we're still tracking some power outages in the Pflugerville area. More than 1,000 Encore customers are waiting for the lights to come on this morning. That outage is expected to be repaired in less than an hour by 9 a.m. But we'll, of course, keep you updated as we learn more. And even with all the rain that we've seen, some Central Texas cities are worried about water supply. Now, Round Rock is asking people to conserve water year-round. The city approved changes to its drought restriction ordinance this week to accommodate for the city's rapid growth. Round Rock already had a twice-a-week watering limit with schedules based on addresses. But now the restrictions start earlier in the day and last year-round. City leaders say neighbors have already been mindful of not using too much water, but now's the time to prepare.
We want them to start practicing that. Even though the lakes are full, that doesn't mean we just need to be wasteful with water, because in Texas, they ebb and flow.
The city's also changing its triggers for tighter water restrictions. So now, instead of letting Lake Georgetown's level get down to 765 feet, the city will only let it get down to 770 feet before the city enters stage 2 drought restrictions. The city of Georgetown also updated its water conservation regulations this week for times when the city is not in a drought. They outline new requirements for builders who install irrigation systems and guidelines on when people can water their lawns. Right now, Georgetown is in drought stage 2, which means people can only water their lawns 1 day a week. And all this month's rain seems to be doing good things for our Central Texas waterways. The main drought improvements were along and east of I-35. Parts of Milam County are completely out of the ongoing drought, and San Marcos and Taylor dropped a drought level entirely. But according to the Lower Colorado River Authority, parts of Austin got 6 to 7 inches of rain in the last month. That's helped fill Lake Buchanan up to 59% full and Lake Travis to 46% full. But keep in mind, these drought improvements do not include the rainfall totals from Wednesday or Friday night. But the data we get next week will. And as the state's population grows, so does the concern about our water supply. The KVUE Defenders recently looked at the state's water plan, and it shows by the year 2030, residential and business demand for water will outpace existing water supplies. A new reservoir is being built southwest of Houston to boost that supply, and that's set to open in 2024. You can watch our full investigative report right now on KVUE.com and on KVUE Plus, our streaming app available on Roku and Amazon Fire TV. Time now 8:06. The U.S. Department of Commerce reports women make up less than 10% of jobs in trade. So now women are looking to turn the tide as the first female line worker graduating from Austin Energy's climbing school. KVUE's Isabella Basco has that story.
So here we got yesterday. It's a long way to the top for those completing Austin Energy's climbing school. They're climbing this 70-foot confidence pole after finishing 5 weeks of training. It's the official start to a 4-year apprenticeship before becoming line workers. But for this graduate, Cherie Sheremy, her climb is a milestone for Austin Energy. She's the first female line worker to graduate from climbing school.
You do have to be confident in yourself to be able to, not only keep up with the men, but just keep up in general with your own progress. You have to trust the progress. You do have to be strong. You do have to take care of yourself.
A former Marine Corps drummer, Sheremy's training involved learning rules, regulations, and specifications for Austin Energy's safety. The last 3 weeks, she was on the poles.
It was a test of endurance and strength and confidence. And then listening to the instructors, they had, the best advice for climbing and how to make it better.
Jimmy Johnson is a fellow graduate, also celebrating with Sheremy.
Cherie, came in and she said, I don't want y'all treating me any different. I want you to treat me like one of the guys. And, she was an awesome coworker to be working with.
It's a long way to the top, but with a view that's making history for Austin Energy. In Austin, Isabella Basco for KVUE News.
8:08 now, new this morning. Police are searching for a missing 63-year-old. He is now there on your screen. Liwu Chien was last seen driving a Toyota Camry in San Antonio yesterday afternoon. The passenger side bumper has a major scratch. Police say he is in danger, and you're urged to call San Antonio police if you do see him or his car. And an update to a story we brought to you earlier this week. Elgin ISD approved a new metal detector for its high school after an incident on Monday, where people thought a student used a knife in a fight at school. Elgin PD said they had no immediate evidence available to show that a weapon was used, and it's still part of an ongoing investigation. District leaders say they also looked into rumors of a gun threat on campus earlier this week. Now, the metal detectors will be purchased from Elgin's safety and security budget. Elgin ISD superintendent also decided to add an extra open forum on May 10th at 6 p.m. at the high school so parents and community members can express their safety concerns.